Banned by the Football Association, now he's unstoppable. Please subscribe. Episode 71. Barbs in the Face. Debut hat-trick. Chu Xuan used the full moon scimitar LV.1 in actual combat for the first time and was killed with one hit. He has been in contact with countless times at the training ground and has long turned his movements into instincts. Seeing that there was no close defense around for the time being, Chu Xuan decisively tried to hit inside. Within the 0.5 second gap when the Bayern defender came up to block, he quickly took a curved ball. His shot felt perfect. You don't need the help of causality to grasp a high goal rate. This made Chu Xuan can't help but look forward to it. If the skill is upgraded to the full level, what kind of effect will it have? On the TV, the commentator Du Xuan kept praising this ball. According to previous reports from European media, Chu Xuan is now better at grabbing points in the restricted area. I didn't expect him to pull outside the box to play such a wonderful shot. This Bayern defender is a little negligent, they underestimated Chu Xuan's ability. It seems that Klopp's vision is still very unique, and he can send Chu Xuan to play in such a key game, which is to trust his performance. Chu Xuan also did not live up to Klopp's trust. The game plus stoppage time is estimated to have 5 minutes left. It depends on whether Chu Xuan can help Dortmund score another one. Bayern coach Hinks frowned. His face was full of puzzlement. That tacky countryman, why? Where did he come from? Doesn't the information say that he is an amateur player? Scored 2 goals in 10 minutes and you tell me it's an amateur? We are Bayern Munich, not Munich 1860, not Munich community team. Gent wants to go out and give Dort a few balls before the end of the game to show them the dominance of Bayern. Hinks waited 0.1 seconds and thought about it. It matters to get 3 points. Hinks is a notoriously old fox who is unlikely to make impulsive decisions. This time, he was completely stunned by Chu Xuan. So Hinks used up the last substitution. He replaced Mario Gomez with Demichelis. To go to the back three is to return to the defense and hold on to this victory. Score well, don't shudder. Seeing this, Klopp next to him also shouted to the players on the field, desperately throwing, crazy attack. The last 5 minutes of the game have become Dortmund's halftime attacking drill. Facing Bayern's solid defense, they tried different ways of attacking. Borussia Dortmund pressed all over, but against Bayern's iron barrel formation, they didn't have a good way. Nuri Sahin tried to dispatch on the periphery and pull the opponent's defense. Bayern's fence was tight, Dortmund moved left and right a few times, but nothing. There's a chance to get too good. Chu Xuan is also trying to use frequent off-ball running and pulling, and he has not been on the field for a long time, and his physical strength is still quite abundant. Zidane pulled out and tried to break through in the ribs. Timoshchuk defended very tightly. Hit back and reorganize. Sahin hit a kick directly outside the penalty area. As soon as Zidane handed the ball back, Nuri Sahin was still unguarded, and he decisively tried to shoot from a distance. His sudden cool-down ball was fast and bounced on the grass, resulting in a slight change of direction. Not good. Bayern goalkeeper Lenzing was unexpected. Fortunately, he was young and quick to react and barely fell to the ground to save the ball off the line. Sahin's shot was a big threat. Borussia Dortmund won the corner and Sahin himself took the corner. Chu Xuan was closely guarded by Bayern players, and Hinks replaced Demichelis. It is estimated that he is full-time to guard Chu Xuan. The referee temporarily blew off the game. Demichelis had too many movements in his hands, kept pulling Chu Xuan's jersey, and the referee stepped forward to warn. In the Bayern penalty area, Chu Xuan sorted out his shirt. This is a habit developed in England. The amateur team has one uniform for the home and away games, and Chu Xuan has always cherished it. Every time after playing a game, the third ant would wash him up, hang it up flatly, and then change into his shirt on match day. After coming to Dortmund, he no longer has to worry about the shirt, he can change it at any time. Just now, the jersey was pulled hard by Demichelis, and Chu Xuan still habitually checked to see if anything was pulled and damaged. The tall and rugged Argentine defender Demichelis glanced at Chu Xuan and smacked his lips. Isn't it just a jersey, is it necessary? Chu Xuan did not pay attention to him, but focused his attention on football. Demichelis was ignored, and suddenly anger surged up, and he reached out again to pull Chu Xuan's jersey. The coach had instructed that he definitely not let Chu Xuan out of his sight. Just then, the corner kick was opened. Football is flying. Demichelis judged the landing point, stepped forward, and forcefully stuck Chu Xuan behind him, ready to compete for the top. Just when he had gathered enough strength and was ready to confront Chu Xuan. Unexpectedly, he didn't desperately grab the point, but was stunned in place. Domitilus was proud. Is that an admission? Humph, this ball is mine. Well? Domitilus was confident and wanted to top the ball, but he didn't expect the curvature of the football to be slightly higher than he predicted. He topped. Domitilus instinctively looked back, only to see a black boot flash in his face. Kick the soccer hard. Bang! The loud boom was too close, and Demi-Calliston was deaf in both ears. He hasn't realized what happened yet. The audience and everyone in front of the TV saw it clearly. Dort's corner, come out, Domitilus. Topped. Duan Xian's eyes suddenly widened at this time, and he stood up abruptly. He found that Chu Xuan seemed to have predicted the rise of Domitilus, and had already jumped and made a barb move. Chu Xuan, come to the foot barb. The ball bounced into the goal under the beam. Good ball, wow! It's so colorful. 91st minute of stoppage time. Chu Xuan scored again to make the score 4-4. Bundesliga debut substitute debuted, Chu Xuan completed a hat-trick. No matter what the final result is, Chu Xuan's debut is simply perfect. I believe that in this war alone, the whole of Germany can remember his name. He is our tacky country player, Chu Xuan. Duan Xian was already completely crazy. Who would have thought that this regular Bundesliga match would allow him to witness a historic moment? Duan Xian seemed to have foreseen that in a few years, if Chu Xuan became a world-class superstar, this game is sure to be mentioned constantly. The Westphalia Stadium went crazy and the noise was overwhelming. Even if the plane flies over the stadium, it can't hide the cheers of the fans. Compared to his emotional teammates and fans, Chu Xuan himself was much calmer. He even wanted to fish out the football and try a few more shots. Since the skill upgrade, the basic probability of causal law shot LV.2 has also increased accordingly. Increased from 20% to 30%. The barb just now is 2/4, and there is already a 50% minimum probability of scoring. Next, even if you don't fold the buff, it's at least 30%. Maybe there's still hope to win. Unfortunately, in the last 2 minutes of stoppage time, Bayern was completely afraid. After they kicked off, they kept falling obscene at the back, not giving Dortmund any chance to get the ball. Don't give Chu Xuan any chance to try to shoot. Finally, the referee's whistle sounded. Duan Xian was in a rare mood role in the studio, and he pulled his throat and said, "The game is over." Bayern Munich won 4-1 away and was tenaciously equalized by Borussia Dortmund. They used to get 3 points, now they only have 1 point left. The turning point of the game happened in the 75th minute, when Chu Xuan completely revitalized Dortmund's attack after coming on. Bayern Munich may have underestimated Chu Xuan's ability, allowing Chu Xuan to constantly receive the ball in the box to complete the shot. Chu Xuan was ordered to come off the bench to complete the hat-trick. Almost single-handedly protect the home field from being captured. The director's lens was also aimed at Chu Xuan. He deserves to be the best player of the game. Klopp, did you see that? No matter what kind of dilemma you face, you can fully trust Chu Xuan. He can do miracles. Episode 72. Chu Xuan, who played in the Bundesliga, was exposed. When Chu Xuan shook hands with Klopp before, he saw countless prophecies flashing away. In the original plot, Dortmund at the beginning of the season was really hard. After the season, the team was only 6th. Until next season, with the arrival of Shinji Kagawa and Lewandowski, Goats shines. Dortmund has just fully opened the yellow youth storm that has swept Europe. Dortmund is still dormant. It seems that this game against Bayern should have been a crushing defeat. As a result, Chu Xuan himself became a butterfly that fanned his wings, completely disrupting the plot. The mighty Bayern Munich failed to capture Westphalia. Chu Xuan became the hero of the defense of Dortmund on his first expedition, occupying the headlines of major media. 3 times threw the Chu in the direction of Bayern. Who is it? Mysterious tacky country striker savior, defeat Bayern in 15 minutes. The striker who scored a hat-trick on Bayern's face is actually from the amateur league. Klopp has a unique eye, and the amateur striker became famous with 1 goal. In the impression of many Chinese people, Germany has always been synonymous with rigor and seriousness. In fact, the German football media also has a lot of headline parties. Chu Xuan, who used to be in the amateur league, came off the bench to complete a hat-trick and was born. This in itself is rare big news. In the Bundesliga spotlight this past, Dortmund scored 3 goals in a row while trailing 1:064. Tacky striker Chu Xuan, who came off the bench, completed an amazing hat-trick. Score a tiebreaker barb in stoppage time to help your team score valuable points. Maybe before this game, many people thought that who was Chu Xuan. Now, the whole German football scene must have noticed this 20-year-old. The mysterious Oriental player becomes the topic of the week. Before this, 99% of Germans had never heard of Chu Xuan's name. Dortmund's fringe players simply can't get anyone's attention. Even Bayern Munich scouts know very little about Chu Xuan, let alone ordinary fans. Even some of Dort's own fans don't know. When Chu Xuan came off the bench, they were still a little surprised. When did the team sign a Shogunate player? Those Asian faces all look the same. There are more and more Shogunate players playing in the Bundesliga, and they subconsciously regard Chu Xuan as a Shogunate. There are even quite a few Dortmund fans who question Klopp's substitution. Why not top striker Barrios? Rather, send such amateur players? Who the hell is Chu? After the game. What a fragrance! Chu is Dortmund's hero. Chu is our god. Chu Xuan's previous pictures at the World Youth Championship were also dug up by German TV stations, and the tacky national youth team he led at that time happened to defeat the German national youth team. In the football program Sports Studio of German TV2, Chu Xuan was also discussed. They even invited former national team manager and former Bayern coach, Golden Bomber Klinsmann to comment. Over 40 years old, Klinsmann, who is still mature and handsome, sat on the chair and smiled. I remember the 05 World Youth Championships, and I also explained the World Youth Championships as a guest. At that time, Taki Kuni's national youth team was 1-0 behind, and I thought our boys could reach the Final Four. I was very impressed. There was a very fast striker who used his speed many times to eat raw, and his pendulum changed sharply. In the end, he scored 2 goals in a row and beat the German youth team. He is the player of the Taki Kingdom we are discussing today, Chu Xuan. Unfortunately, in the final stages of that game, he left the field with a serious injury, reportedly torn cruciate ligament, and said goodbye to professional football. I didn't expect him to persist and play in England's amateur league, and was discovered by Klopp and brought to Dortmund. We can see that he no longer uses speed to break through and cannot complete the high-speed pendulum shift. He will use his awareness and movement to complete the goal through flexible grabs. There are also many ways to shoot, from long-range shots outside the box, to grabbing points in front of goal and even barbs. Bayern have some factors of underestimating the enemy in it, and the first 2 goals failed to kill Chu Xuan. Hinks even sent Demi Shielis to defend closely, but I didn't expect to complete the barb in his face. Jurgen Klopp is also a hero, if not full of confidence, who would sign a 20-year-old amateur. The host asked maliciously at this time, "What do you think, how does Chu Xuan compare with you?" Klinsmann laughed. "It's hard to say. He has some qualities that are very similar to what I was back then." Then Klinsmann changed his tone. "However, there are often such famous teenagers in football, but many of them disappear quickly like shooting stars. Chu Xuan's start is relatively high profile, and getting a hat-trick on Bayern will definitely attract the attention of other teams. He needs to work more hard next." After this Bundesliga game, domestic fans are also a little crazy. Especially Bayern fans. Foggy grass, I just watched my Rennes game, and I found my own people. 15 minutes off the bench to complete the hat-trick. Actually helped Dortmund to get even. Number 13 Suancho must be a compatriot, right? Why haven't you heard of it before? Soon, the post in the Bayern Munich post bar was instantly full of replies. Doesn't the landlord even know about Chu Xuan? Is it really Chu Xuan? Wasn't he in the national youth before? When did I run to Dortmund? Kinder went to play in the Bundesliga after disbanding? Bull batch. You're all out. Chu Xuan first went to England, played in an amateur team, and even led the amateur team to a draw against Liverpool in the FA Cup. Nonsense, amateur teams are not crushed by Liverpool? Search for the game yourself, last season's FA Cup Round 3. Liverpool/Bayern fans testified that I watched that game live. Chu Xuan also scored a hat-trick, and the 3 immortal balls were simply amazing. Isn't it? Playing a strong team is a hat-trick. It's no exaggeration, Chu Xuan is such a bunker. Let's go to Liverpool and take a look, it's already reduced to Chu Xuan. No wonder, I went to Chu Xuan bar to search around, they are all fans of Infinite. Originally, Chu Xuan was only a little famous in the group of Liverpool fans and hardcore national football fans 7. When Dortmund signed Chu Xuan, only a few Dortmund fans noticed Chu Xuan, and his influence was very limited. As a result, after this match, Bundesliga fans basically reacquainted themselves with Chu Xuan and frantically searched for his experience. The fans sighed. Chu Xuan broke from the national youth team, once had no ball to play, and left his hometown alone to play in the amateur league. He was almost going home to inherit the restaurant business. Who would have thought that one day, Chu Xuan would be able to return again? Of course, at this time, Chu Xuan is still not out of the circle, and his influence in the country is only in the fan group. Xiaozhong City, Tanghe District. The food street on Wuling Road is quieter in the afternoon, and it will only be lively in the evening when it comes to the peak period. The Chu family courtyard on the food street is a long-established Sichuan restaurant, which is also famous in the surrounding area. They have earned a good reputation over the years with their delicious and affordable meals. The shops around hot pot, barbecue, and crayfish closed down and opened like flowing water, and the Chu family yard always stood tall. This is largely due to the family craftsmanship of restaurant owner Chu Xuan. His son has always insisted on his football dream, and even after being seriously injured, he has to leave his country to play football in Europe. Chu Xuan had to pass on his skills to his apprentices, and the restaurant was becoming more and more prosperous. This afternoon, they finished their lunchtime and were preparing the ingredients for the evening in the back kitchen. Chu Xuan stared at the employees chopping vegetables and side dishes, and suddenly heard a piece of news that seemed to be faintly coming from the lobby. In the fifth round of the focus battle of the Bundesliga yesterday, my country's player Chu Xuan came off the bench. He made his Bundesliga debut with a hat-trick to help Dortmund draw 4-4 with Bayern Munich. Hearing Chu Xuan's name, Chu Jianzong's heart suddenly tightened, and he hurriedly walked out. The two waiters who were sneaking around in the lobby thought that the boss was angry. "I'm sorry, boss, there's nothing to do now, let's turn on the TV and watch it for a while." Then the waiter picked up the remote control and prepared to turn off the TV. But was seriously stopped by Chu Xuan. "Wait." Chu Xuan hurriedly walked to the TV and looked at the TV screen, Chu Xuan's sweaty smiling face after scoring the goal. "This kid is a lot darker. Boss, do you like watching the ball too?" A few vegetable passing guys were finally relieved to see that the boss was reading the news seriously. This Chu Xuan is a cow approval, he is the first Takikuni player to complete a hat-trick in the Bundesliga. Yes, and this is his first Bundesliga. Boss, do you know him? Chu Xuan focused on the news picture, nodded subconsciously, and muttered, He's my son. Several waiters were completely dumbfounded. Episode 73. Dortmund face value ceiling Chu Xuan. Human memory is always short-lived, and the Bundesliga in the past was sensational, but quickly forgotten. The heat about Chu Xuan, a player from Taki country, also quickly dissipated. German fans and media have returned to their usual calm. Chu Xuan was interviewed by many media after the game, and then it was still an ordinary and dull training life. His life hasn't changed much because of one game. The only difference is that every morning on the way from Hans's house to the training center, there are always many fans who greet him. Chu. Attaboy. Come on. Clear. Chu. Can you sign my name? Chu. I love you. Need a girlfriend? That's right, Chu Xuan, with his handsome Eastern face, has attracted the love of many female fans. Before Royce arrived, Chu Xuan quickly became Dortmund's face ceiling. It was only when he came off the bench that female fans noticed the treasure boy. Some female fans even posted on the .fan forum and established Chu Xuan's fan group. More than 70% are female fans. Chu is too handsome. For the first time, I got the appearance of an Asian man. It's no problem for him to go to Hollywood to develop, he is simply more handsome than Inzaghi. Quietly declared, I feel that no German international can find such a handsome. Hey, are you watching the ball or chasing the stars? Look at the ball, isn't his hat-trick handsome? Yes, isn't Chu's barb handsome? The post was so viral that it topped the Dort fan forum. Even Anya Hans brushed it. She was proud and a little tasteful. Chu Xuan is sitting next to me, I can even hug him over and take a bite, you guys envy it. Usually Anya is a literary and artistic young woman who is not smiling. Anya on the internet completely let go of herself. Wake up, stop dreaming. Chu Xuan is mine. Don't rob it, it's everyone's husband. On the internet users in any country are actually similar. In short, Chu Xuan has often been delayed on the road recently, and the time to arrive at the training ground is about half an hour later than before. Sebastian himself still has to go to work, and it is impossible to let Uncle Hans send him every day. It's time to buy your own car. Chu Xuan pondered carefully. The other stars drove Ferrari, Porsche, Bugatti to training. No matter how bad it is, Mercedes, Audi, Land Rover. It's a little strange that I still run to the training ground every day. Of course, you have to get a German driver's license before buying a car. A domestic driver's license can only be used in Germany for 6 months. Chu Xuan now has a weekly salary of 25,000 euros, a goal bonus of 9,000 euros, plus an appearance bonus of 3,000 euros and a score bonus of 3,000 euros. In this past game, Chu Xuan received 40,000 euros, nearly 400,000 RMB. In addition, it is very cheap to buy German cars in Germany, and high-end luxury cars are only 100,000 euros. Chu Xuan, who had never cared about things outside his body, inevitably moved his mind. After all, no guy can refuse a car. After training that day, Chu Xuan ran back to Hans's house, and after taking a bath, he sat in the living room holding his notebook. A little later, Anya came home from work and saw Chu Xuan. She leaned over quietly and tilted her head to see Chu Xuan's computer interface. Hey? You want to buy a car? Yes. Chu Xuan smiled, he was just dazzled, and he didn't have too good ideas for the time being. I usually think about football, and I don't know much about cars. Especially buying a car in Germany. I'll show you. Anya naturally sat down next to Chu Xuan, and the looming smell of perfume on her body made Chu Xuan a little stunned. Do you like sporty performance cars, or more practical off-road vehicles? Hey, Chu? Anya found Chu Xuan staring at her, and her fair cheeks instantly crawled with crimson. Chu Xuan looked at the display screen without a trace and thought carefully, sporty. He usually does not go outdoors off-road, it is enough to drive on city roads. There's a Mercedes E-Coupe here, which is currently on sale, and you can get it all for 50,000 euros. Anya pointed to the streamlined two-door coupe on the screen. With Chu Xuan's character, buying a car is just a substitute, not a pretend. Otherwise, he would have taken out a loan to buy Ferrari now. He took a fancy to this coupe at a glance, which is simple and practical, and the price is very cheap. England had saved nearly £50,000 in savings, plus the 40,000 euros that had just arrived, and it was easy to buy. Okay, that's it. I'll pick up the car tomorrow. Since he was chosen, he didn't bother to grind. Chu Xuan has always been so resolute and decisive, so he can seize more shooting opportunities. Well, actually, there's another option. With your funds is also completely enough. Anya suggested hesitantly. Seeing that Chu Xuan seemed a little interested, she searched for another model on the computer. Also Mercedes, SLS-AMG, 2009. Flip gull-wing door? 3,6 seconds acceleration per 100 kilometers? It has to be said that compared to SL-SAMG, the previous E-Class coupe is not worth mentioning. This car costs hundreds of thousands of opus. Yes, now 150,000, if you go to a familiar place, you can also get a discount. Chu Xuan was suddenly a little moved. 150,000 euros may be an unaffordable figure for the average office worker. For Chu Xuan, it is less than a month's salary. Not to mention discounts. Chu Xuan felt that he should change his concept. Now that I am a professional player, my salary will definitely rise in the future. If you want to buy, you can buy it directly, there is no need to save this little money. When he makes more money in the future, he can buy a Porsche for his parents each, and he can buy a Maserati for Chu Kyungzi. Okay, that's him. Chu Xuan stared at the yellow sports car on the screen and smiled slightly. At the Dortmund training center, youth team players Mario Götze and Steven Sama passed by the car park. It's not yet training time for the first team, and in the empty parking lot, there is only a yellow Mercedes S.L Samg sports car. Wow, whose car does that car? Really handsome. The tall and muscular centre-back Sama said enviously. Götze also stared at the car for a moment. I don't know, the car of a certain big guy in the first team. Goetz and Sama currently only have apprenticeship contracts and cannot afford to buy a good car for more than 100,000 euros for the time being. When you officially join the first team, you will definitely be able to afford it. Harm, it's early. I can't get a chance to play for the time being. With your talent, the manager has noticed it long ago. Maybe this season will promote you to the first team. Dortmund has two talented players in the youth squad, Mario Götze in front of him, and Marco Reus, who joined Borussia Mönchengladbach. Reus left early and switched to the Bundesliga team in 2007. This group of youth teammates Götze has become the first brother of Dortmund's youth team, a shining talent. Sama believes Götze already has the quality of a first-team team. As long as he gives Götze a chance, he will definitely be able to make a splash like Chu Xuan. You are stronger than Chu in the first team, you definitely have a chance. Sama said firmly. Götze smiled bitterly and shook his head. You underestimated Chu Xuan's strength, don't think that he is weak when he comes out of the amateur team. To be able to score a hat-trick in Bayern's face and steal 2 points. Not everyone can do it easily. If I had been on the pitch, I wouldn't have even had 3 shots on goal. Chu can frequently find opportunities to hit the goal, he is a genius shooter. Against Bayern, Götze was also on the scene. He witnessed Chu Xuan's divine dragon swinging tail, full moon scimitar, and upside-down golden hook. If the game time is extended by a few more minutes, Chu Xuan may be able to complete the big reversal. Coach Klopp is still a little more conservative, he should have been replaced long ago. Oh, remember, that AMG must be Chu Xuan's. Götze's immature face was full of admiration. It is said that in the first team, only Chu will come over to train so early. His success is not accidental. Episode 74. Legendary Skills. Let me be Jordan. After a draw at home to Bayern, Dortmund picked up a valuable point, with 6 points from 5 rounds, temporarily in 11th place. For Jurgen Klink, the team still started the season badly. Next up are 2 tough games away at Hannover 96 and Schalke 04 at home. If you still want to achieve your goal of qualifying for the Champions League this season, you must win one of the next 2 games. So the following week, Dortmund players felt a lot of pressure. In the past, there would be Klopp, who said and laughed, with a straight face, stern and harsh for a week. If you slack off during training, you will immediately attract scolding with a split head and a face. Nelson. Lucas. What are you two muttering about? Love to chat, hey? Stand here and talk. 2 strikers, Barrios and Valdez, are fellow Paraguayans. They often exchange heads in Spanish during training. Usually, when Klopp is in a good mood, he turns a blind eye to the small movements of the two. Now they are hitting the muzzle. Chu Xuan suddenly had the feeling of returning to the classroom. Klopp became a stern class teacher, and the 2 Paraguayans were rotten students. No wonder Klopper is angry with the two. If they had played a tactical role in the first few rounds and scored a few more goals, the team would not have been in the middle of the table. At the critical moment, it was Chu Xuan that avoided the collapse. At this time, those 2 people did not converge. Go run 20 laps. Klopp said with a dark face. But Barrios just wanted to contradict it. 40 laps. Klopp roared. There is no way, the 2 Paraguayans can only obediently go to run laps. The rest of the players were silent and did not dare to say another word. It is really unwise to anger the coach at this time, and in the worst case, you may be pressed to death on the bench. In fact, Valdez has a good personality and has a good relationship with his teammates. He's a great player and a very creative player. But he still can't get rid of the free and loose attitude of South American players. After Barrios arrived, the 2 South Americans smelled even more and intensified. It is said that after the match with Bayern, the 2 went to a nightclub and were photographed by fans, and also on the Lace News. They didn't care, they still didn't care. As everyone knows, Klopp's eyes moved slightly, and the thought was already in his heart. In the 6th round of the Bundesliga, Borussia Dortmund is about to leave for Hannover. The squad is announced before the away game, and those who are not on the list can stay. With his good performance in training and God-level performance against Bayern, Chu Xuan was unsurprisingly selected for the squad. This is the 2nd time this season that he has played away from home with the team. The first time was the German Cup match. The Hans family went to cheer Chu Xuan, and ended up sitting on a cold bench for 90 minutes. This time, maybe Chu Xuan has a chance to appear? Or even a starter. Before leaving, the Hans family sat down to see off Chu Xuan with delicious food. Of course, they all eat German sausages, roasted pork knuckles, sour cucumbers. Chu Xuan ate nutritious meals such as boiled chicken breast. Uncle Sebastian drank beer and grinned, "Chu, you will definitely start this time." Chu Xuan didn't say anything, but his daughter Anya held down her glasses and sang the opposite, "Not necessarily, Valdez is a veteran scorer of the team, with delicate technique and more practical tactics. Barrios paid a lot of money this year, and he is the best number 9 for Dortmund. Chu's tactical role is relatively single, and he may not necessarily start." After Anya's analysis, she seemed to realize her own problem, and quickly added, "I'm sorry Chu, I'm just rational analysis, I think you are still Dort's best player." Chu Xuan didn't care, he just smiled lightly, "It's okay, Anya, what you said makes sense. I do have certain limitations now." However, Chu Xuan continued to get stronger. After he drew cards in August, he has been thinking about the September draw. Finally, tonight's 30-day cooldown period is coming, and he can draw 10 times in a row. In the previous 2 consecutive draws of 10, Chu Xuan's original 52,325 points were still 20,325 points. He later made his debut in the Bundesliga and earned 10,000 points. Each goal awarded him another 1,000 points. The hat trick also has an extra 30% credit. The daily training will also grow a little. So Chu Xuan glanced at the balance in the system interface, and there were 35,605 points left, just enough for 2 consecutive draws this month. But after this draw, he has to save money well. Saved up the points. If he can have more opportunities to play and perform better in the game, Chu Xuan can get more points and get more abilities. Maybe someday in the future, he will be able to draw a health recovery card and completely restore his legs to their original state. After returning to the room, as soon as the time came, Chu Xuan couldn't wait to open the interface. Dream Shop. Prayerful Bukuro. 20 consecutive draws. Rich, capricious. Ding. Get Dream Points 1000 Redemption Card X5, Rare, Ding. Get Dream Points 200 Redemption Card X8, Normal, Ding. Get Stamina Elixir, Small, X3, Normal. Ding. Get Speed Potion X2, Rare. Ding. Obtain the skill card Trapeze LV.max, Legend. Note, what is it like to dunk from the free throw line? Ding. Get Schrodinger's Causal Elixir X1, Epic. Note, the effect is unknown after drinking, and the buff/curse effect is 50% each. Compared to both withdrawals last month, this time Chu Xuan's face was darker. The 20 consecutive draws only have 1 legendary prop, and the rest are white boards. Dream Points Redemption Card? This kind of thing is also embarrassing to put in the prize pool. Chu Xuan was really too lazy to complain. Those point exchange cards, he exchanged them casually, and obtained 6,600 points. Various potions are also temporarily placed in the storage basket. The physical strength potions and speed potions he had stored were already somewhat flooded. You can even show off 2 bottles of potions per game. That Schrodinger's causal potion, Chu Xuan didn't want to touch it for the time being. Now he is in a critical period, if he can seize the opportunity, Chu Xuan can sit in the main position of Dortmund. In case of drinking the potion, a certain negative effect will be randomly produced. For example, having the various attributes of the body, or vertigo, blindness, etc. His competition was completely ruined, and Chu Xuan would not take this risk. According to the current state of his dark face, Chu Xuan still put this bottle of potion into the inventory. Fortunately, this time there are new skill cards. Trapeze LV.max. Judging from the skill description, the trapeze here must be NBA legend, Michael Jordan. Who dares to call a trapeze but him? Skills seem to be related to basketball. In fact, on the football field, there is also great application value. Chu Xuan, as a striker, plays a more obvious role. Just look at Ronaldo, many of his later key goals were scored by slam dunk-like jumping headers. Chu Xuan's height of 183 is not bad, plus Jordan's jump. He can already become an air overlord. If the next away game against Hanover, Chu Xuan has a chance to play, he will definitely try it. He can't wait to play. Episode 75 is again the plot of the Lord of Redress. Nuri Shaheen, Sven Bender, Grosskreutz, Ku. Next is the striker. Klopp glanced at Chu Xuan, and then read Valdez, Barrios. After arriving in Hanover with the team, Klopp gathered the team in the hotel that evening and announced the starting list for the next day. Chu Xuan did not guess wrong, he still failed to start this game. Although last time against Bayern, he scored a hat-trick himself. But before himself in the amateur league. Chu Xuan knows that his ability has long been enough for the Bundesliga standard. Klopp also knows that he can play in the Bundesliga, and his teammates are clear about his ability. But the outside world does not know. Everyone's understanding of Chu Xuan is still stuck in the impression of an amateur player. There are even many media who believe that Chu Xuan's hat-trick against Bayern is completely lucky. I watched all 3 goals, it didn't reflect the technique at all, it was pure luck. I can do it too. August, a columnist for the German newspaper Sportsbild, publicly commented on Chu Xuan. As we all know, this columnist is a Bayern fan, so he made a big deal about Chu Xuan. His comments also represent the voices of many fans and the media. It's just a game, what can it say? That's why Klopp didn't directly let Chu Xuan start. This match against Hannover 96 is very key and the defender will definitely focus on defense and will not give Chu Xuan too many opportunities. In case it caused Chu Xuan to start the field, he failed to play well. In other matches, it's normal for strikers not to score. But Chu Xuan became a hot figure last week, and the magnifying glass of the media and fans also focused on Chu Xuan. They would definitely completely magnify any of Chu Xuan's deficiencies. If the situation is bad, it will definitely affect the player's form, resulting in young players being hit before they rise. Klopp can't take that risk. He planned to lie dormant on the bench first, wait for the opponent's physical exhaustion in the second half, and use Chu Xuan to run without the ball to attack the opponent's defense. If Chu Xuan can score consecutive goals, he will completely prove his strength. That's what Klopp thinks. According to his usual habit, he thinks he's thinking about the players. In fact, Klopp missed one point. Chu Xuan had already suffered the biggest blow and had already been reborn from the ashes of hell. No matter what difficulties he encounters, he will face them calmly. Outside criticism counts as a yarn? Brainless believes that Chu Xuan is. However, he actually predicted Klopp's prediction, and Chu Xuan was in the atmosphere at this time. Therefore, Chu Xuan did not have any dissatisfaction with Klopp's choice of starting lineup. After the meeting, Klopp was still worried about Chu Xuan and specially stopped him. Chu, in fact, I have high hopes for you. You already have the strength of the top league from the start. Otherwise you wouldn't have been able to lead the team to a draw with Liverpool. I believed you from the beginning. But I'm worried. Chu Xuan interrupted with a smile, Coach, I understand, there is no need to explain. Don't worry, when I appear, I promise not to drop the chain. After speaking, Chu Xuan patted Klopp and left dashingly. Chu Xuan's counterkill made Krupp stunned for a few seconds, and then he was dumbfounded. This kid. Hannover 96 is a long-established club in the city of Hanover. But the historic team had few highlights, winning the DFB Pokal in 1992 and sinking several times since. The club has always suffered from financial troubles, and in the era of golden dollar football, it had no money to buy people. In the first 5 rounds of the season, Hanover drew 2 and lost 3, not far from the relegation zone. In order to be relegated, they must now take advantage of each home stadium and try to grab points. Dortmund is a soft persimmon. As a result, Hannover 96 took the lead in the opening stages of the game, scoring a goal in the first half through a sharp counterattack. Mike Hank. The smash dangled past Hummels and shot into the far corner. Weidenfeller failed to stop the ball. In the 26th minute of the game, Hannover, who were playing at home, took the lead. Due to the excellent performance of Chu Xuan in the last round of the league, CCTV reacted quickly and made major adjustments. Originally, prime-time Bundesliga broadcasts were prioritized for Bayern Munich. The vast majority of domestic Bundesliga fans are also Bayern fans. But from now on, Dortmund, where Chu Xuan is located, has a priority over Bayern. If the 2 matches are played at the same time, Bayern's broadcast will be arranged on the Fengyun football channel. Unfortunately, the commentator Duan Xian did not see Chu Xuan on the starting list. Director Tao, you said that Dortmund will consider replacing Chu Xuan when he is behind. Well, I think it's quite possible. Klopp still trusts Chu Xuan's ability. If he still can't open the situation in the second half, he may let Chu Xuan win surprisingly. Hannover, playing at home, led 96 and they set up a solid iron barrel to try to hold on to the advantage and get 3 points. Dortmund can still create a lot of threats in the open and closed confrontation. In the face of dense defense, they don't have much good solutions. Until the end of the first half, Dortmund had 70% possession and only 5 shots on goal. There is only 1 hit in the goal range. It can be seen that the defense of Hannover 96 is still quite successful. At halftime, Klopp did not make substitutions, and Chu Xuan still waited silently on the bench. Cuba formed a man on the wing. The cross failed to find Barrios. Shaheen straight through, Valdez receives the ball, beautiful feint shakes away the defender, strikes the goal. Smashed on the defenders. Gross Cruz tried a 45-degree cross, Barrios got caught in the siege and couldn't grab the drop point. After the whistle in the second half, Dortmund were slow to open the situation. Does Klopp want to change Chu Xuan to play? Duan Xuan was also a little anxious to see it. Domestic fans watch the game at night just to watch Chu Xuan play. Duan Xuan was very worried that Chu Xuan would give the fans hope like Zhang Junmin, but in the end he would not get a chance, which would make people's hopes disappointed. The current Hao Junmin also plays for Schalke 04 in the Bundesliga. It is said that head coach Maget likes Hao Junmin, but Hao Songa does not have many opportunities. He was even forced to play fullback in order to play. When will Taki Kuni's overseas players really stand on the European stage and become shining superstars? Xiaozhong City, Jianzhong Haoding Community. Zhang Huifeng sat on the sofa, silently staring at the picture in the TV. It is already 11:30 p.m., and for middle-aged and elderly people, it is time to go to bed. Zhang Huifeng herself was a little sleepy, and her eyes were almost unable to open. She still struggled to sleep and watched football matches on TV. For her, the 22 people competing for the ball on the green field are really boring and far less interesting than the TV series. Zhang Huifeng couldn't even care about the hit series, but focused on the game in front of her. I don't know how long it took, the director finally cut the camera to the sidelines. The handsome face of an Oriental youth appeared on the TV screen. Zhang Huifeng's sleepiness suddenly dissipated, and the whole person cheered up, like pouring a cup of espresso. Old Chu! Come quickly! He's on the field! What are you doing? Hurry up! Don't procrastinate! Zhang Huifeng excitedly shouted towards the bedroom. What's the shout? It's coming! Chu Jianzhong came over angrily and complained, I really don't understand you, what is the competition for foreigners? Seeing Chu Jianzhong's attitude, Zhang Huifeng was immediately very angry. Hey! Foreigners competition? You don't care about your own baby's game. Xiao Xian has turned black, you don't even look at it. Okay, I'll watch. Chu Jianzhong seems to be an unsmiling uncle and a stern restaurant owner. However, the actual owner of the family is still his wife Zhang Huifeng. He sat on the sofa and watched Chu Xuan appear, and suddenly had some mixed tastes. This baby, the beard is not shaved clean. It feels a lot more mature. Duan Xuan's high-pitched voice came from the TV, we saw that Coach Klopp has finally made a substitution. In the 66th minute of the game, number 13 Chu Xuan came off the bench and replaced number 9 Valdez. When the team fell behind, Klopp still chose to trust Chu Xuan. Will he be able to perform magic again like he did in the last round? Episode 76. Chu Xuan is a bit like Inzaghi. After Chu Xuan came on the field, Dortmund's situation did not change significantly. They were still helpless against Hannover's iron barrel formation. Passing left and right outside the box, Hannover 96's backline was not at all confused. However, the Dortmund players are still relatively calm, they are not in a hurry, and they are playing steadily. Otherwise, it will be very uncomfortable to be counter-attacked by the opposite side, and the score will be expanded. Coach Klopp was not in a hurry, he simply sat in the coach's dugout, leaned on the back of the chair, and silently followed the situation on the field. Only the commentator Duan Xuan and the domestic fans were more anxious. Chu Xuan played 5 minutes on the field, he only had 2 chances to touch the ball, both of which were passed back to his teammates under the pressure of the defender, and failed to pose a threat. Tao added, this is also normal. In the last round, Chu Xuan scored a hat-trick on his Bundesliga debut, and the opponent was Bayern. I'm afraid other teams in the Bundesliga have already focused on Chu Xuan. We can see that when Chu Xuan runs in position, the other party will immediately stick it up, trying to interfere with Chu Xuan with a strength advantage. Under such strict guarding, it is difficult for teammates to pass the ball to Chu Xuan. Everyone has more options to play or look for Barry, there are a lot of opportunities on his side. Hearing director Tao say this, Zhang Huifeng in front of the TV was very angry. Pass to him and can't kick into the goal, why don't you pass the ball to Xiao Xian? Chu Jianzhong glared at his mother-in-law, you know a hammer, and the coach has his own tactical arrangements. Chu Jianzhong also used to watch the ball often, and when he was a child, he also took Chu Xuan to watch the ball. Chu Xuan's football enlightenment was also cultivated from a young age. Signing up for children's football training and attending football school are also supported by Chu Jianzhong. He actually hoped in his heart that Chu Xuan could one day become an international footballer and win glory for the motherland. Xiao Chuxuan's talent was also undoubtedly revealed, becoming the best among his peers, and later being favored by kinder scouts and selected for the national youth team. His football journey should have been smooth. But since then, Chu Jianzhong has hated football, especially the domestic football environment. He regretted that he couldn't let Chu Xuan study and enter the university normally. At the very least, Chu Xuan was able to grow up healthily and not suffer a major blow. In the eyes of most domestic parents, football is a hobby after all, not a career worth fighting for. Looking at Chu Xuan running desperately on TV, Chu Jianzhong subconsciously picked up a lighter and wanted to light a cigarette. Smoke and go to the balcony. Zhang Huifeng next to him said with disgust. Chu Jianzhong, who had just picked up the lighter, put it down again, still watching the game matter, and he would smoke again after smoking. In case you miss Xiao Xian's goal. He just thought so, the situation on the court changed. With Barry finishing a few shots, Hannover 96 turned its attention to Barrios again. Anyway, Chu Xuan has been invisible for so long, so he shouldn't make a move. That technically well-rounded Balagi is even more threatening. Just as the Hannover defender was thinking like this, Nurui Shaksan suddenly saw that Chu Xuan's position was temporarily empty. He did not hesitate and decisively sent a straight kick. Coach Klopp emphasized that as long as Chu Xuan has a gap, he will pass it over and hit the back. Whether Chu Xuan can run in place or not is his responsibility. But if you don't pass it, the passer will inevitably be scolded. Sure enough, Sha Xian's straight ball turned into a sharp blade and directly penetrated the originally strong defense line. In the next instant, Chu Xuan had already killed from the crowd. Hey! This ball! Since everything happened too quickly, the Hannover defender line could not react. Chu Xuan had already dribbled the ball to the goal, forming a single knife. Chu Xuan is not offside. No offside. Single knife ball. Duan Xian's voice instantly became high. The defender of Hannover 96 panicked and quickly raised his hand to signal to the referee that Chu Xuan was offside. At this time, Chu Xuan didn't care if he was offside, so he hit the door first. Facing the goalkeeper, Chu Xuan was extremely calm. It was his first shot on goal and didn't stack the buff. But as a striker in the top flight, Goldfinger can only be used as an aid. He was confident enough to score this one-handed goal. Joke! Wouldn't it be in vain to train hard for so long? Lao Tzu lost speed, and his shooting boots were not lost. Chu Xuan. Facing the goalkeeper. Hit the strike. Strike. Duan Xian nervously watched Chu Xuan shoot calmly and lowly, and the football passed through the goalkeeper's armpit and quickly rolled into the net. Then his emotions were finally released and he cheered loudly. After Chu Xuan came off the bench, he scored with his first shot and helped Dortmund equalize. 2 consecutive games as a substitute goal. Klopp, did you see it? At this moment, many fans in front of the TV in Shenzhou land cheered and screamed mercilessly. Good ball! Even Chu Jianzhong couldn't hold back, his rough big hands clenched into fists, and his forearms even burst into green tendons. Since Chu Xuan insisted on his dream so much, how could he obstruct it in every way as a parent? Shine it! Blossom in a foreign land! Mother Zhang Huifeng even grabbed Chu Jianzhong's hand, laughing with tears, he scored. Stinky boy scored again. In front of the visiting team's stands, Chu Xuan jumped up and turned around to complete the celebration. A hat-trick against Bayern completely won the hearts of Dort fans. At this time, Dort's die-hard fans had fallen in love with this magical Oriental boy, and thousands of fans echoed in unison, Chu. At the moment when the team fell behind, it was Chu Xuan who turned the tide. Well done! He's my child! My family's Chu! The Hans family also shouted with joy and shouted proudly. Chu Xuan had been boarding at home for just over 3 months, and they had long regarded Chu Xuan as their own child. Yay! In the Cambridge University dormitory, there was also a howl. Elena, why don't you sleep yet? The roommate was suddenly woken up and complained. I'm sorry, I'm so happy. Wearing headphones, Elena stuck out her tongue. She had tried to keep it as quiet as possible. But Chu Xuan scored, and she couldn't hold back anymore. The roommate shook his head helplessly and secretly complained. This silly girl, who used to be a fan of the amateur team, is now a Dortmund fan. Real Madrid, who liked Real Madrid for more than 10 years, was ruthlessly abandoned by her like this. After Chu Xuan equalized for Dortmund, his teammates played more calmly. The Hannover 96 suddenly felt a lot of pressure. If they stick to it, the 3 points they get become 1 point, and they feel very bad. But if you attack out, the defense is very dangerous. Chu Xuan and Barry Kisi are quite threatening, making them a little embarrassed. Cuba passed to the ribs. Barrios' wonderful pass, hitting the door. Oops, a little worse. Sahin tried straight stuffing again. Chu Xuan starts. Pulled to the ground by the defender. This obvious foul could not escape the penalty. The referee decisively showed a yellow card. Borussia Dortmund took a free kick in front. The Hannover defenders are very jealous of Chu Xuan and would rather foul than let him start. Director Tao sighed at this time. The way Chu Xuan plays football is a bit of a feeling because of Inzaghi. He seems to have no technique, no body, no speed, but he can always swim on the edge of the offside line and always score goals in different ways. This statement has been recognized by many fans. Indeed, Chu Xuan is unremarkable on the surface, and it is very puzzling to upgrade from the amateur league directly to the Bundesliga. Only through actual battles, through real goals, and through victory can Chu Xuan's true value be reflected. 2 successive substitutes, each time a direct threat, each time scoring goals. Who would dare to say that he is an amateur player? A warrior-type player who once blocked people from killing has quietly evolved into an assassin master who strikes critically. Borussia Dortmund won a free kick on the left flank of the front. Nuri Shaksan was responsible for the penalty. Chu Xuan originally wanted to try the power of the full moon scimitar, but he was not in a hurry to perform. The full moon scimitar outside the forbidden area last time did not attract enough attention. Now there is no need to expose the whole card of the free kick, and when the moment of truth, you may be able to catch the opponent by surprise. Xia Xin is a left-footed player and the angle is not suitable for hitting the goal now. After his teammates were in the box, Shaheen wanted to try to hang into the box and let the central defender compete for the top. As a result, when the ball came out, Shaheen immediately felt that the ball was wrong. I saw that the football arc was very high, fluttering over the penalty area. The Foxes, Suabadiki and Barry in front of the point were unable to compete for a header, too high. At this moment, a figure in the crowd actually rose up and jumped into the air like a rocket. Both teammates and opponents around were petrified, looking blankly at Chu Xuan who was high above. Chu Xuan! Duan Xuan looked stupid. If it wasn't for the green field, he would have thought that Chu Xuan was dunking. Jumping too high, right? And Chu Xuan himself was also helpless. Foggy grass, the trapeze max is a bit excessive. Higher than expected. Episode 77. The first Bundesliga assist. Chu Xuan MVP again. For the first time, Chu Xuan tried the skill air trapeze LV.max in actual combat. Unexpectedly, the height of the struggle to jump was higher than he thought. This kind of stagnation let Chu Xuan complete a 360-degree turn and increase the windmill dunk. The football smashed on Chu Xuan's shoulder, swayed and flew towards the goal, and was hugged by the dumbfounded Hannover goalkeeper. The audience froze for a moment before returning to normal. Duan Xuan laughed at the commentary table. Ha 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 ha, Chu Xuan jumped over his head and failed to correct the part. Why didn't you find out before that Chu Xuan's bouncing ability is so amazing? Dortmund can then try a combination of ground and air to take advantage of the air advantage of the two strikers. Barrios is 188 tall and has the advantage of grabbing headers. Since Duan Xuan could see it, Dortmund's teammates naturally would not miss this opportunity. Recently, in the training match, Chu Xuan also showed the talent of the trapeze artist, scoring a few headers. The Dortmund players were actually not surprised by this, but just now Chu Xuan was too hard and jumped a little too high. Next, they combined to form a threat through ground penetration and crosses. Finally, in the 80th minute of the game, Gross Cruz crossed the high ball from the wing to the back post. After Chu Xuan grabbed the point, he did not greedy for merit, but jumped high and headed the ball to Xia Xian, who was inserted behind. The Ottoman international made a decisive shot and fired a powerful shot to help his team overtake the scoreline. Dortmund away beat Hannover 96-2-1. Chu Xuan also got his first assist data in the Bundesliga. Ding! First Bundesliga assist, get dream points, 1000. Ding! +1 assist, get dream points, 100. A header from Chu Xuan assists to help Dortmund overtake the score. Chu Xuan jumped so high. Ha 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 ha. Duan Xian's laughter came from the TV. The 2:1 score was also held until the end, and Dortmund finally tasted victory again after 4 consecutive winless matches. There was no suspense, and Chu Xuan, who came off the bench, also became the best player of the game again. When he was behind, he contributed a pass and a shot to help the team complete the reversal. After the game, Chu Xuan was surrounded by the German media group. If his last hat-trick against Bayern was accidental, 2 successive performances have proven his quality. The well-known beautiful reporter of German TV2, Julian Schaff, squeezed in front of Chu Xuan first. The mature and sexy blonde journalist is a well-known figure in German football. Her hot figure has haunted countless male fans. Even many Bundesliga stars are her fans. However, Julian is not a female anchor in a vase. Her sharp commentary and rigorous analysis in football programs have also been recognized by many industry insiders. Chu Xuan saw the blonde German girl pick up the microphone and hand it over, and said in English, "Chu, a simple interview with you for 1 minute will not delay too long." After the careful teaching of teacher Anya, Chu Xuan's German has become relatively proficient. He replied directly in German, "Well, you say. But hurry up, the coach is waiting for me." The beautiful anchor Julian's eyes lit up and smiled, "I didn't expect you to be so good at German, then I'll make a long story short. If you have scored in 2 consecutive games off the bench, will you get a chance to start next?" Chu Xuan responded directly, "Whether I can start mainly depends on the arrangement of the coach, I just need to do my own thing." "So your teammate Valdez hasn't scored a goal this season, do you have any hope of competing for him?" Chu Xuan's brows frowned slightly, "This beauty is doing something. The standard of a professional player is not just to score goals, Valdez has also performed very well, he has completed the tactical tasks of coaching." Chu Xuan's answer was leaky, and he would not stupidly give the media a chance. Seeing that he couldn't score, Julian had to smile charmingly, "Then you are in such a good state now, will you keep scoring goals in the future?" "Of course." Chu Xuan said lightly, "Scoring goals is my job, as long as I play, I will guarantee to score." "So arrogant?" Chu Xuan's answer made the reporters all stunned, and then a happy expression appeared on his face. "I originally thought that this kid was an old fox, but I didn't expect that he was still too young and couldn't hold his breath. Even the hot Cristiano Ronaldo in Europe, even Ronaldo, even Messi dare not guarantee a goal per game. You're a striker who hasn't established himself in the top league yet, and you don't know this guy for 2 games? The beautiful reporter Julian also regretted it, she didn't want Chu Xuan to fall into this situation. The German media will definitely criticize him next. But she was the closest, but she could clearly feel the confidence in Chu Xuan. He doesn't look so brainless, he's always calm, why do he think he can keep scoring? Julian unconsciously became deeply interested in Chu Xuan. After the interview, Julian quietly stopped Chu Xuan, "Chu, next we have a football interview program on ZDF TV, can we invite you as a guest?" Chu Xuan turned around and glanced at this beauty faintly. "Contact my agent, I believe you can find his contact information." The beautiful reporter Julian looked at Chu Xuan's back and was stunned. Then she looked down and looked at her chest. The previous big killing weapon seemed to not work in front of Chu Xuan. "Have you lost your charm?" Unsurprisingly, when the German media reported Dortmund's victory after the game, Chu Xuan once again became a popular figure. Chu Xuan, who scored a goal and completed the assist, saved Dortmund and helped the team recover the hard-earned 3 points on the road. However, the striker seems to get a little carried away. It's just 2 games in a row and he said in an interview that he can maintain this goal-scoring efficiency. In his opinion, it's easy to score in the Bundesliga. Let's take a look at Chu Xuan's goal, facing Bayern, it was completely Bayern's 2 central defenders who stared at people and caused mistakes. And with this goal from Hannover, I felt like I was offside. Looking at the playback in slow motion, 980 Chu Xuan may have half of his shoulder sticking out the offside line. He's a typical opportunist, and it's hard to guarantee that every game has holes. If the opponent defends well, he has to show more ability to score. In my judgment, the next game against Schalke is his real test. August, a columnist for Bild, posted again, expressing dissatisfaction with Chu Xuan's arrogance. Other media topics also focused on Chu Xuan's post-match interview. As for his wonderful performance in the game, it seems that the media does not care. In the eyes of these Germanic guys, how can a tacky person from an amateur league like you underestimate the Bundesliga so much? Unlike the excitement of the German football media, the domestic media is frantically boasting about Chu Xuan. What rule the Bundesliga, the god of Dortmund, Chu Xuan who turned the tide, true god of Dortmund. In the eyes of the domestic media, Chu Xuan's performance in these two games can already lead Dort to win the championship. In the past, tacky Kuni players were able to start in the European League, which is already worth bragging. When have you ever seen a player so powerful? It's just phenomenal. Of course, in addition to boasting about Chu Xuan, the domestic media paid more attention to Chu Xuan's opponent in the next round. Schalke 04. It is said that the duel between Dortmund and Schalke 04 is one of the hottest derbies in the world. Ruhr Derby. The challenge that Chu Xuan was about to face might be even more intense than he thought. Episode 78. I can deal with Chu Xuan. Gelsenkirchen, Schalke 04 training base. The training ground here is open and not blocked by high walls. Fans often watch their home team train outside the stadium. There were also many journalists waiting outside the training ground. There were about 7 or 8 companies waiting that day, mostly German media. Since Schalke 04 and Dortmund are located in the Ruhr area of German heavy industry. So the next round of league is also one of the hottest derbies in the world, the Ruhr Derby. The German media paid close attention to the highlight of the 7th round of the Bundesliga. In many German media, there are also some CCTV news reporters. Since Chu Xuan played against Bayern and scored a hat-trick fame battle, CCTV quickly sent a group of reporters to Germany. This European team is basically stationed in Dortmund city, usually tracking and interviewing Chu Xuan. Sometimes he also reports on Shaoji's news in the Bundesliga. After all, since Yang Chen, Li Di, Zheng Ji, Dong Fangbian and others have returned to China one after another, Shaoji and Chu Xuan are the only two remaining players who stayed in the ocean. Recently, it was reported that Schalke 04 was about to sign international player Hao Junmin, and the team rushed to Gelsenkirchen. After waiting for the team's training to end, the CCTV reporter finally waited for Schalke 04 coach, Felix Magath. Hello, we are football reporters from the Tokyo CCTV Sports Channel, and we have made an appointment with you before. Yes, Mud Howl, Mud Door Howl. Magath is interested in Eastern culture, smiling and greeting with a Chinese with a strange accent. Seeing that he was very friendly, CCTV reporter Wang Xiang casually exchanged pleasantries, and then asked straight to the point, there is news that Schalke 04 is contacting Hao Junmin, do you plan to sign him in the near future? Yes. I was so impressed with Artemisia that I wanted to sign him when I was in Wolfsburg. Mentioning Zhang Junmin, Magath nodded. He's very good at ball sense, he's very good at combining people and balls, he's fast, he's big picture. The most important thing is that Artemisia Junmin is good at fighting and actively returning to defense, these are very good qualities. We're already in contact with TEDA Club. Maybe this season the contract is over, maybe we will bring Artemisia to Schalke. Magath didn't say anything to death. He still has a certain understanding of domestic football. Sometimes, clubs over there will discourage players from playing in Europe, even if they ask for excessive prices or sabotage cooperation. Magath can't figure it out, obviously many talented young people can come out and play, why stop them? In the end, the strength of the club cannot be raised, and the opportunity for good seedlings to grow is ruined. What a shame! So this time Hao Junmin joined Schalke 04, Magath hopes to introduce success. Reporter Wang Mi interviewed about the details of Hao Junmin, and then changed the conversation and mentioned the next Bundesliga. In the next round of the league, Schalke 04 will play the Ruhr Derby and meet Borussia Dortmund. What do you think of this game? Magath is also an old fox, his glasses lenses are slightly reflective, and he grinned, Dortmund is our old rival, every derby wants to be hot. Their home stadium is also notoriously difficult to play. But we are ready, if they dare to let their guard down, we will surprise Dort. Magath showed confidence, but nothing was revealed. Wang Xiang was also helpless. You did translate for me, what TMD is called TMD surprise. Translation. Then she threw out the final question. Dortmund striker Chu Xuan scored in 2 games as a substitute. May I ask what kind of response plan do you have for Chu Xuan's fiery state? Chu Xuan is his own compatriot, and Wang Yu is still very proud to have such a highlight performance in the Bundesliga. She also wanted to know how the coaches of other teams viewed Chu Xuan. Talking about Chu Xuan, Maget, who was originally smiling, frowned slightly. He grinned. Chu, he is very good at seizing opportunities, like the Italian super Pippo, Inzaghi. But he also has his own flaws and is not up to the modern all-round centre forward. I believe we can limit Chu's play. If he has a chance to play. Hey! After the interview, CCTV reporters and photographers packed up their equipment and left the training ground. In the car, the photographer couldn't help but complain to the reporter. Sister Yang, Maget is really an old fox, so he knows how to play Tai Chi. What did he mean by that last sentence? Could it be that Chu Xuan really didn't have a chance to play? Wang Yang, who led the team to interview, is also a senior football reporter, and she smiled mysteriously. I feel. Magath was actually a little scared. Afraid. The photographer couldn't believe that a coach like Maget would be afraid of Chu Xuan. It can't be. If my guess is correct, he actually doesn't know how to deal with Chu Xuan. Whenever people think that Chu Xuan only has this level, he will always come up with actual action proof. You guys! I will never be able to understand my true strength. There were still 2 days left before the Hot Ruhr District Derby, and Chu Xuan had already felt the atmosphere before the big battle. Through understanding, Chu Xuan already knew that there was a deep grudge between these 2 teams. Students who study geography seriously will remember that the Ruhr region of Germany is a world-famous industrial area. It is full of heavy industries such as coal mines and steel, and is known as the heart of German industry. Schalke 04 fans are coal miners, Dortmund are steel mill workers. 2 different groups look down on each other, and the way to compete is football. Since the creation of the 2 teams, both sides have won and lost against each other. Then the Bundesliga was created, and the 2 rivals fought each other and fought to the death. This hatred seems to have reached the point of paranoia. In the city of Gelsenkirchen there is an unwritten rule that it is better not to add yellow to buildings, yellow in Dortmund. This level of feud is evident on the pitch. Whenever the Ruhr Derby comes, both teams play very hotly. Bright-souled tackles, fierce fouls, red cards, fights. These are commonplace. Even if you are a new Mo-xin, you will be quickly dragged into this kind of battle. That's right, this game is war for both sides. Chu Xuan was still in the illusion of what the next day's derby battle would be. It didn't take long for Klopp to assemble the team. Tomorrow is the derby, Schalke 04 is in 7th place, but only 6 points above us. If we can take Schalke, we can climb a few more places. And the significance of this game, I believe everyone understands. This is no longer an ordinary game, but a battle of honor for the club. I hope everyone will be in good shape tomorrow. Next, the coaching staff has drawn up the starting lineup based on your recent training and game performances. Hearing this, the players all tensed. The starting lineup for important games marks his place in the heart of the manager. If you can play well through the Ruhr Derby, you will be able to hold the main position in the future. Everyone listened carefully to Klopp's reading of the list. The goalkeeper is undoubtedly Weidenfeller, who is the team's vice-captain and Klopp's most trusted goalkeeper. Captain Kyle at right back, centre-back partners Subotic, Hummels, left-back Schmelzer. Midfielder Sven Bender partnered by Nuri Sahin. On the left, Grosskreuz secured the main force with his aggressive running. On the right is Tinga, a full-back who is good at fighting. Then there's the important striker combination. Barrios, A&D. Chu Xuan's heart suddenly moved at this time. And Chu Xuan? Chu Xuan made his debut. Dortmund's teammates have set their sights on Chu Xuan Yang. His 2 successive excellent performances seem to have impressed Klopp, and his attitude in training has always been positive. Everyone had no objection to Chu Xuan's starter. Even the Great Cross, who had always been prejudiced against Chu Xuan, felt that Chu Xuan was worthy of starting the battle. After reading the name, Klopp did not forget to encourage, Chu, behave well. Meanwhile, Paraguayan striker Valdez's heart sank. He had a hunch that perhaps his position as the main striker could not be preserved. Episode 79. 42 seconds to break the goal. Magath is stupid. Bundesliga Round 7 Matchday, Westphalia. In the past, after warm-up training, Chu Xuan went out in training clothes and sat on the bench. This time, he can finally change into a bright yellow home shirt in advance and wait in the dressing room to play. The game had not yet started, and the stadium stands were already full of people. Dortmund fans, led by the sound of drums, did their best to create sound waves. Our team is famous all over the world. Everyone knows that Borussia Dortmund's players are always the strongest. When the whistle blows, Dortmund move forward, we are ready for every game, we defend our goal at all times. The 80,000 fans sang in unison. The atmosphere of the Devil's home is undoubtedly revealed. Some of the junior Schalke 04 players have even trembled nervously in the face of this level of deterrence. Chu Xuan could feel the walls shaking in the dressing room, and the singing penetrated in, adding a layer of courage to every Dortmund player. Barry, who came to the Bundesliga for the first time, was inevitably a little stunned when he saw this situation. The first few home stadiums were far less terrifying than today. He couldn't help but ask Nurui Shaheen next to him, hit Schalke 04, will the scene be crazy? Sha Xin is a Dortmund Academy graduate and is well aware of the feud between the two teams. Well, you are mentally prepared, the opposite action may be very crude. Grosskreutz grinned, his expression like a mercenary eating meat in a medieval tavern. Brood? Humph, that's a war. Lucas, try to protect yourself when shoveling you opposite. Then Grosskreutz looked at Chu Xuan again, you are the same, I heard that you were injured before. Don't do anything in this game, hide if you should. Big Cross, you say 2 words less. Captain Sebastian Keil reminded. In the Dortmund team, everyone knows Chu Xuan's original situation to some extent. Keil was afraid that the big mouth poking someone else's sore spot would cause Chu Xuan's dissatisfaction. As captain, he has the responsibility to maintain harmony within the team. Chu Xuan didn't care, I'm fine, but Big Cross, take care of yourself, your temper is easier to be shoveled. Hey, you! Grosskreutz just wanted to fight back, but was persuaded by Captain Keil. Okay, don't make trouble, the coach is here. Krupp and the assistant coach walked into the locker room and emphasized the tactics of the game. Then he looked around the starters and felt everyone's mental state. Yes, you guys are very energetic. The meaning of this game, I don't need to say more, right? Remember, you're on your home turf. There are 80,000 people behind you. There are teammates next to you to support you. You are a team, you fight together. Go, kill those miners. Roar. Derby, the team is full of morale. The players were like beasts out of the cage, rushing out of the dressing room with red eyes. In the players' tunnel, 2 groups of people met, both looking at each other with vicious eyes. The war has already begun from this moment. As players from both sides walked out of the aisle, enthusiasm at Westphalia rose again. The DJs on the scene also broadcast the names of the players one by one in the order in which they appeared. The first to read were Schalke 04 players, and the home fans did not move, and even responded with harsh boos. It wasn't until the DJ missed the home team that the fans regained their enthusiasm. Number 5, our captain, Sebastian. After the DJ broadcast, the fans shouted in unison in the back, Keil. Number 8, Nuri. Shaheen. Number 13, Xuan. 80,000 fans chanted Chu Xuan's name in unison, Chu then everyone applauded Chu Xuan warmly. Chu Xuan himself was surprised, and I don't know when, his popularity actually caught up with the captain Keil. Viewers, you are now watching the 7th round of the Bundesliga Focus, where Dortmund host Schalke 04. This match is the famous Ruhr Derby, I believe everyone can see from the picture how hot the atmosphere is. It is worth mentioning that our country's player Chu Xuan finally got the opportunity to start. He has finally earned Klopp's trust in 2 consecutive excellent performances. Schalke 04 is 7th in the league, and if Dortmund fail to take 3 points, they will be completely separated by their rivals. Both players are in place, and let's look at the starting lineup on both sides. At home Dortmund are still in a 4-4-2 formation. Goalkeeper number 1 Weidenfeller, defender number 5 Captain Keil, number 4 Subotic, number 15 Husels, number 29 Skurs. Midfielders number 8 Shaxson, number 22 Svend, number 7 Tinga, number 19 Grosskreutz. Striker number 9 Barry Burns, A&D. Number 13, Chu Xuan. When he read Chu Xuan's name, Duan Xuan's psychology couldn't help but be a little touched. In previous commentaries, he explained the game from a sideline perspective. Now, the starting lineup has one more of its own, and this pride is indescribable. However, as a professional commentator, Duan Xuan still tried to adjust his mentality. On the away side of Schalke 04, Magath may have been cautious in lining up the troops considering the pressure of playing away. They used a 5-3-2 formation. Goalkeeper number 1 Neuer. Defenders number 4 Hovides, number 25 Gembrino, number 2 Westermann, number 5 Bolden, number 18 Rafinha. Midfielders number 21 Lucas, number 30 Konya, number 28 Moritz. Striker Altintop Jr., and number 17. Falfin. Tau added at this time, it can be seen that Magath is well aware of Dortmund's attacking power, so he cautiously plays defensive counterattacks. Two strikers, especially Falfin, their speed is a big threat to Dort. Secret star Farfan quickly established himself at the heart of Schalke 04 since joining PSV Eindhoven. So much so that later Hao Junmin joined Schalke 04, completely unable to compete with Farfan, and could only be forced to play fullback. The favorite thing for Schalke 04 fans is Falfin wearing a blue shirt and galloping on the wing. Breakthroughs are Falfin's forte, and he is extremely good at dribbling and extremely fast. In particular, Farfan's sudden stop and turn with South American rhythm and varied rhythm make the enemy defender defenseless. The key is that he also has a strong finishing ability and passing imagination. It can be said that Farfan is Schalke 04's C player. Chu Xuan stood in the middle circle, stepping on the football under his feet, and when he waited for the opening whistle, he silently looked at Farfan. Farfan also seemed to be looking at Chu Xuan with complicated eyes. In other words, Schalke 04's whole team was looking at Chu Xuan. The words of head coach Magath echoed in each of their hearts. Don't despise that Oriental, absolutely not. You have to pay 120% attention and keep an eye on him. Do you understand? Farfan actually didn't understand a little, then the Oriental just had 2 good games. Is it necessary to be so careful? As a result, less than 1 minute into the opening game, Farfan fully understood why Magath was so cautious. Wow! Ha 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 ha, it's incredible. Just 42 seconds into the game, Dortmund took the lead, 1-0 for the time being. The person who scored the goal is none other than my country's player, number 13, Chu Xuan. Farfan watched with a dull look at Chu Xuan running to the south stand of the home team, jumping up and turning around and landing on the ground, all in one go. Chu! The shouts of the audience seemed to announce to him. The Yellow-Black Devils' home stadium seems to have a new king rising. Episode 80. Neuer, this ball is not something you can save. In fact, Chu Xuan just wanted to test that the Schalke 04 players were staring at him. Are they really focused on themselves? So after kickoff, he gestured to midfield commander Nuri Shasan and ran to the front to swim. Schalke 04's central defender Westermann seems to be specifically staring at Chu Xuan. As long as it is near the forbidden area, this person will come up and stick to Chu Xuan. Then Chu Xuan pulled out again, and the opponent still kept in separating and followed out of the forbidden area. Seeing this, Chu Xuan moved his wit, and immediately summoned the speeding elixir in the inventory, and decisively snorted. Speed potion, 200% faster after use, lasting 15 seconds, limited to 1 time per match. Westermann was originally still following Chu Xuan closely, but suddenly, Chu Xuan's figure shook and disappeared as if by magic. What the heck? Westermann quickly turned around and chased. But he was big and slow to turn. By the time he saw Chu Xuan's back, he was already 2 positions behind. At the same time, Nuri Shahin's straight plug has come out. Chu Xuan took the ball and burst into the penalty area. Schalke 04's defense didn't even react. They also raised their hands stunned to signal that Chu Xuan was offside. But the linesman saw it clearly, and at the moment of passing, Chu Xuan was still half a position away from the offside line. It's a good ball. Schalke 04 goalkeeper Neuer was shocked and abandoned the goal. Chu Xuan pulled away the angle, slightly cast the full moon scimitar, and made a foot arc per second, bypassing Neuer's 10 fingers. Crash into the net. The opening is only 42 seconds. Chu Xuan's goal helped Dortmund lead 1-0. The fans couldn't believe it at first, until Chu Xuan ran to the south stand and made a signature celebration move. Only then did everyone react and shout in unison, Chu! This process, Dortmund fans are becoming more and more proficient. Scored in 3 consecutive games. And this is a derby, fighting the sworn enemy Schalke 04. Dortmund went crazy. At this moment, Chu Xuan is the god of West enamel. Seeing this scene, Magath was so angry that he grabbed the mineral water bottle and smashed it to the ground angrily. Groove. A bunch of. It's all waste. Westerman, have you forgotten all of Lao Tzu's words? Can you kick? If you don't want to kick, you can roll down. Magath turned into a Xuan madman at this moment and went crazy on the court. Schalke 04's assistant coach and substitute are dumbfounded. The whole of German football knew Magath's temper, but they also saw Magath so angry for the first time. After a long continuous output, Magath stopped, panting, picked up the bottle and drank. After the anger, he calmed down and began to think about countermeasures. The previous tactics were entirely based on draws, perfectly avoiding Borussia Dortmund's edge. One blow, and then the will, the king, and exhaustion. He then attacked Borussia Dortmund and won by 1 goal. In Chu Xuan's prophecy picture, Magath won in this way. Dortmund lost 1-0 at home to Schalke 04. Lost 3 points, and also lost the glory of the Ruhr area. Who knew that Chu Xuan's variable appeared, and Schalke 04 was caught off guard. Magath's opening tactical arrangement was completely ineffective. In this case, Magath also came to the sidelines and signaled the 2 wingbacks to move forward slightly and assist appropriately. Dortmund will certainly take advantage of the advantage and continue to pressure Schalke 04 for some time. When they are physically exhausted, they will take back and fight back. Since you engage in sneak attacks, you can't afford to play, you little trash has no strength. Then we also sneak attack. Dortmund continued to lay siege to Schalke 04 after taking the lead at the start of the game. Şahin pulled to the left and crossed at a 45-degree angle. Chu Xuan jumped up and scrambled for the top and headed the goal. Oops, it's a pity that Neuer reacted quickly and saved the crisis in time. Causal law camera, 1/4. Dortmund corner kick open, Chu Xuan again. Neuer finished the save again. Schalke defenders hurry up and break the siege. Causal law camera, 2/4. After conceding the goal, Schalke 04's defense was in jeopardy. Neuer became the busiest man. Since the last time Chu Xuan developed the bouncing power of the trapeze, the happiest person was Klopp. Why didn't I think Chu Xuan was so strong before? In this case, the task of heading the goal and grabbing the point was also given to Chu Xuan. Even the bridgehead Barrios is only responsible for the ball connection on the ground. Chu Xuan's tactical value has also been amplified a lot, not just opportunists hiding in the rear. Of course, when he wanted to stand up and score a goal, Chu Xuan would not be vague. So during the first half, Schalke 04's attack on Dortmund was helpless. Focus on defending the ground, and they will raise a high-altitude ball to let Chu Xuan compete for the top. In the restricted area, arrange manpower to keep an eye on Chu Xuan, and they will use ground penetration to pull out the gap. Maget's tactical deployment was completely shredded. If it weren't for goalkeeper Neuer's brave play, Schalke 04 would have fallen behind 3-0. In the away stands, Schalke 04 fans were dumbfounded. It is also a strong team in the past 2 years, and can wrestle with Bayern. It should be the runner-up of the Bundesliga this season. Why was he beaten by Dortmund without fighting back? What about a good derby? Completely one-sided. They couldn't understand for the time being, the only variable, Chu Xuan, had already fanned his wings and triggered a butterfly effect. It was precisely because of the opening lead that Dortmund dared to strike boldly and continue to press. It is precisely because of Chu Xuan's super bounce and god-level prediction that he can repeatedly compete for success among many strong defenders. This is equivalent to controlling the rebounding ball on the basketball court. Dortmund had complete air supremacy and bombed infinitely over Schalke 04. Combined with the ground attack, they were beaten to pieces. Only 15 minutes into the game, Neuer thought it was half-time. He was sweating profusely, and his breath was a little unsteady. In just a few minutes, Chu Xuan's 2 header shots brought him great pressure. Coupled with Barry's shot, Şahin's heavy artillery probing, and Grosskreuz's occasional breakthrough shot, Neuer experienced busyness like never before. However, Neuer, known as Spider-Man, is a goalkeeper who is easy to get out of shape. As long as he is emotionally high-pitched, he can complete a difficult and bizarre save. Sometimes the instinctive reaction surprised even himself. Dortmund goes on the offensive again, Şahin's straight stuffing. Chu Xuan. Deliberately leaked. Strike. Very. Oops, pity. Barrio's close-range shot was blocked by Neuer. Shaheen, try a telephoto kick. Neuer again. A world-class save. I. Chu Xuan successfully reversed offside, single knife. Neuer struck quickly. Unexpectedly blocked Chu Xuan's hit with his foot. Woo. After attacking to block Chu Xuan's one-knife ball, Neuer bent over his knees and gasped for breath against Mario Gomez, Thomas Muller, Klose, and Key. Slin. So many long-established or talented forwards have never made him so nervous as he is today. But at this time, Neuer has been playing for a long time, and he is looking forward to more opportunities to perform. Neuer even hooked his finger at Chu Xuan. Come on. It's kind of another kick. I'll pounce on it. Chu Xuan was in front of him, quietly watching him pretend. Oh no, act, expressionless. Causal law camera, 3/4, sorry, Shin. The next ball is not the one you can save if you want to.